So, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to a scene from Rage Across the Ashes. Maybe. I don't actually know if that's right, but it's okay. It doesn't have to be. So, this scene will be set after having walked away from one person. One people always try to engage her. It's weird. 10 Point is headed down the street, and we are going to decide for the moment that she's meandering through the Bronx, still just kind of puttering along, not with any particular speed. In fact, she has to keep to the far, far right edge of the sidewalk so that she doesn't get trampled. Um, I mean, I guess not trampled because rage is the thing, but you get the idea. She would be frustrating a lot of people if she was walking around in the main foot traffic. So 10 Point is just ambling along, antler free, eyes to the sky and hands stuffed in her pockets. And yeah, she's not doing a lot that's especially engaging. She's keeping just enough periphery on all these fucking people. Ugh, so many people. And her rage isn't that significant, and this is New York. There are a lot of people perfectly willing to bump into her and jostle her. So yeah, this little Thayer just is keeping offside, ambling along. For the most part, just kind of looking up like she's cloud watching, maybe. There's no real telling what she's doing, but she's just ambling. It just happens to be that she's ambling in a fortunate slash unfortunate place. In fact, probably, quote, danger close to
Oh my.
to certain places of interest. And yeah, that is what she is doing. Just a random chick with big hair, puttering along.
And yeah, there is a well, I would say small mage, but though she's small in powers, Ava's actually kind of tall, especially compared to the people around her. And who has been walking around in the same area as she just stepped outside of her home and is making plans to go to a bookstore. She is wearing a hoodie, like making sure that her hair is tucked into like the hood. Um, and actually, fuck it, why not? Underneath the hood that she's pulled up, she's also wearing a hat, and she has her hands in her pockets, a bag over her shoulder, and has decided that it would be time to besides buy stuff for smoothies because you know, extra vitamins after like what they've gone through a couple of days ago is not a bad idea. But also to pick up a book because although they have a stocked library, that library needs filling up, and especially the newer books are missing. So as she is actually about to open a door and step into the bookstore, she is noticing a person like almost on top of her, not really, but she recognizes that person, and that just kind of makes her even faster opening up the door, stepping inside and closing it, and then looking behind her to see a person that she knows is Iris passing by. Hmm.
And yeah, truth be told, with her hair tucked under and everything, I mean, she's seen her with like a cap on or a hat that leaves her bright hair hanging out. But they've encountered Olive twice, and let's be fair, Iris isn't exactly like checking faces as she goes around. She's just kind of keeping eye enough that she'll dodge another person hurrying past to that I've got business to attend to stroll. Um, but all in all is just ambling in a like she doesn't even seem to necessarily be purposefully going in the direction she is. She's just kind of working her way there, and still has her eyes for the most part turned up to the sky, looking at maybe, is she looking at the architecture? Is she looking at the clouds? I mean, there's a lot of pigeons, but who would bother looking at those? Like, yeah, she seems completely oblivious to Ava being there because it really isn't even feasible with her not looking and Ava keeping her most noted feature under wraps for her to catch on. So yeah, no, she just keeps going without any real apparent purpose.
And Ava sees her passing by from inside of the shop, and it's like, what is she doing over here? Because even though, yeah, it has only been 2 meetings, in one of those meetings, let's just say Iris left kind of a an impression, very big impression, not necessarily by what she said. And what is a, well, quote unquote, monster such as her doing so close to their home? And Ava will stick her head out of the store again. I will watch, and when she is kind of convinced that that Iris isn't seeing her per se, and doesn't really seem to have seen her, have spotted her. I mean, you have to do what you have to do. You have to be careful around things that are close to home. So making sure that this is not accidentally a secret, non-planned or planned attack on said home, Ava decides to follow. Actually keeping her phone close by, so that if she has the feeling that Iris is going to into the direction of the chantry, she can at least warn people there. So she starts to follow.
I mean, she could by happenstance be headed in the right direction, but again, doesn't seem to have any real purpose about it. And it's not even the feigned indifference. She now and again kind of pauses, but for the most part just keeps ambling the same direction aimlessly. And she might catch her now and again, like tilting her head to follow a flash of motion in the sky. But all in all, she just kind of keeps on keeping on. It really does seem like she's watching the pigeons, which seems kind of silly, really. They're literally everywhere. They're flying rats. They're just omnipresent.
Ava being not that much of a city girl yet, she doesn't consider pigeons to be the scourge of all evil. Um, so she does notice that after like maybe 15, 20 minutes of walking, that, yeah, Iris's gaze keeps following pigeons, which is strange for her, but well, some people do what they gotta do. And since they're walking slowly, Ava's gonna take out her dream diary and is going to just write down, just, I wouldn't say building a file, but just jotting down that the antlered monster is apparently watching pigeons. Why would she do that? This is incredibly weird, and well, Ava's curiosity is definitely piqued. So she's like, maybe if I just follow her around, she doesn't seem to be heading straight into the direction of the chantry. Let's just, keep following her, keep watching. And at this point, I am going to roll Dex stealth because while writing and trying to keep track of Iris and trying to not bump into people, there's a lot of work to do all together. I mean, with one success, she stays mostly out of people's way,
Mm-hmm.
mostly unnoticed. Sometimes she does kind of shoulder bump into someone, and someone might just um, shout something to her that she's just kind of ignoring, and then walking a bit faster. But
Ah, the natural
realizes.
sounds of the environment.
Yeah.
It's one success, so it's not like she's a ninja, but at the same
Oh
time,
no.
it's New York. It's full of so many people bumping and scrambling and cussing
Yep.
each other out and hailing cabs, and it's just noisy. So thankfully, her noise just happens to be the perfect kind of noise to blend in.
Mhm.
So yeah, she'll follow along, and Iris ambles this away, strays that away, and then her head will very abruptly as they're standing at a crosswalk, and obviously Iris is just kind of waiting for traffic to start moving again, as it were. She'll abruptly dart her head around as though to follow something. She spotted something, and she finally goes ahead and pulls her hands out of her pockets because you can't really walk with purpose with your hands stuffed in your pockets. It's just awkward and weird. But she goes from her idle wandering to striking off with purpose down this side street. Not like
Oh.
small, tiny alley side street, just like a street that is perpendicular to this one.
Huh. Okay. That's odd. And Ava will have to increase speed. She'll like close her diary and will increase speed and follow after.
And yeah, I mean, let's again say that while 10 Point does have some measure of rage, this is New York and there are a lot of grumbly people in New York. And I imagine there are a bunch of grumbly people in the Bronx, especially.
Oh
So,
yeah.
I mean, she is bumping people here and there and getting cussed at and whatnot, but doesn't seem to especially mind it. She just, if anything, seems more annoyed by the physical contact than by whatever verbal sparring follows it. But she will go from a quick walk to kind of trotting along, slipping into the more quick moving bit of foot traffic because there is some rhyme and reason to it. Um, Ducking around people here and there, not tripping over anyone, thankfully. And then as she pulls up to a particular point for no apparent reason, uh, this time as she turns her head to peer into an alley, there's a the faintest sign of a smile, like you can kind of see it in the profile, and she just abruptly darts down the alley.
Then Ava's yeah, she's been following. Also has to evade more people now as she is picking up speed. And instead of just kind of letting the insults go, she's just gonna mumble every time someone bumps into her, every time someone like grunts at her or something. She says like, "Sorry, pardon, excuse me." She is switch rushing along the crowd, and has to stop abruptly as Iris does the same. And like then as this is definitely an alleyway, she'll she'll step closer to the alleyway and will first just dart her head around the corner.
Iris is definitely target locked. She is not looking back. She may have a vague ear out for if someone came thundering in behind her, but no, she's target locked on something, and she definitely now has her head very blatantly kind of turned up. And you might even hear the echo because alleys are much smaller. And while there's a bunch of noise outside of the alley, once she's if she decides to slip just into the mouth of it or something, she might hear that
Mhm.
10 Point is kind of like it's kind of like that, come on, come on, come on, as she skitters to the end and where it intersects other alleys and kind of peers around and eventually sets her eyes on something and starts this time less energetically and enthusiastically running and more so kind of creeping around as though trying not to disturb whatever she's got her eyes on.
Okay, I'm gonna roll curiosity now, specifically to see if Ava would get closer or not. Because the fuck is she doing? Like, seriously, what is she doing? Why would a monster be crawling around? Okay, she is going to head a bit further into the alleyway, but making sure there is at least like a pretty safe distance between the two of them, and just for the sake of argument, because she doesn't want to be seen, especially not creeping up on people, because that's just like
Yeah,
weird
feel
shit.
free to assume there's cover too. I am sure there is at least one dumpster in this alley, if not
Yeah.
that, and a pile of trash cans and someone's fucking discarded couch they decided not to take with them when they moved. Like
She
quality
has
alley shenanigans.
2 successes as she does dive behind the dumpster
Yep.
and peeking her cap and her head like just high enough above it so that her eyes are visible and that she can actually see what's happening there.
Yep. And she hasn't gotten quite so far as to be like crawling along, but she is definitely kind of assumed that little like I'm actually paying attention to where my feet are going, that like kind of semi crouch you do when you start creeping. And start setting her feet a little more carefully. And I will roll at a higher difficulty because you have cover. Myself like diff 8.
I mean, it does only have 2 successes though, so.
Well, I don't have any. In fact, that is a botch. So I'm pretty sure a cat just, I don't know, like some shit just happened. Like I glanced down there and a cat like comes barreling out of one of the trash cans that's laying on its side and startles her instead. She completely misses your entire vicinity. So she kind of startles comically as this cat comes yowling out, probably being chased by a rat or two that are almost as big as it is. Uh, so she kind of startles and sighs in that self-chiding way, like you would get scared of a cat, bleh, type thing. And seeing as there, she's pretty deep in this alley. In fact, she's the only reason I imagine Ava can see her as she has kind of eased around a corner just the slightest bit is that she just happens to be at that nice angle, whereas someone out on the street probably wouldn't have a proper eye full of her. And she'll take a moment and pause. And it's very obvious that she's given the cursory glance around. She pauses and actually holds her breath for a second to listen. And when no real human life is forthcoming, because let's face it, the alleys are usually stocked with thugs at night, not so much during the day.
Oh, there's no money in it.
Yeah, she'll give one last cursory glance around. This time higher up, um, as if searching the walls for something or another. But there's not going to be any cameras in an alley in the Bronx. That's just stupid. And then she does something anomalous because she's convinced she's alone. And she slips open her bag very quietly, very delicately, slips open her bag and proceeds to just very carefully, very gingerly pull out a longbow that is much, much longer than her bag is deep.
I was gonna say, how the fuck?
Uh-huh.
Oh god, that's another curiosity roll because the fuck is happening? And I'm gonna make that a diff 8 one because that's some magic shit, man. That's a fail. So yeah, Ava is like her head comes higher up above the dumpster and she immediately then grabs her dream diary and starts scribbling in it. And she is going to write the words sight into her diary. You know what? Let me just make another stealth roll first because those things are like
as long as you don't fail, I'm not going to check against you.
no, but that was kind of why I was doing it. So
Yeah,
there's an
that's
eye.
fair.
So, yeah. and she just starts writing, and then yeah, like I said, starts writing the word sight in both Swedish and Finnish. And she's gonna kind of hold the paper in front of her eyes, and closing her eyes and kind of whispering, like no more than a whisper, whispering the words, and is going to activate her prime sight. Hopefully.
Come on, dice roller.
Yeah, it's like, come on, buddy.
You know, if you do
Come
it
on.
again, it's going to give you 2 fucking rolls, too.
Probably.
Take the second one. Take the second one.
Yeah. Fucking hell.
Take the second one.
If you're okay with that, then I will take the second one.
And yeah, as she's doing this and lifting up the paper, she is reaching back down into the bag. The bow is unstrung for the sake of having it said, and she will reach down into the bag again and pull out not her whole quiver, but a pair of arrows, and will tuck both of them in her teeth and sidle just a little further around the corner. But you'll get your effect off before she sidles to a point where it's much harder to see her.
Mm-hmm.
And I do not know what the result is of you looking at a fetish.
It's only the bag that's a fetish, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Actually, no. Well, there are several things in the bag.
But it's basically the bag that gives off like probably 10 Point herself will give off an effect as well.
Is it prime sight?
It's prime sight.
So yeah, from what I understand, like I don't know exactly how the bag will look, like the swag will look. I do know that last I heard, unless it has changed, which it may have, in prime sight, Guru tend to be not vibrant as in like brightly colored, but it's almost like there's too much going on because of, I assume because of the intensity of the rage. Yeah. So she's got a certain intensity going on.
Mm-hmm.
But the bag is definitely the source of the hoodoo.
Okay. Yeah, Ava really wants to see what's going on, and as Iris crawls further around the corner, Ava's going to attempt to crawl towards the corner.
Yeah, again, just if you fail, I'll roll against it. If you botch, I'll roll it slightly easier, but I'm going to keep taking a higher diff because she's pretty target locked.
So again, one success. I'm digging those stealth rolls. Like
you're doing pretty good for 3 dice, man.
I know, right?
So yeah, she goes unnoticed. And by time she manages to creep around to where she can see again, our lovely 10 Point looks not like this. Do not panic.
I was gonna say, oh my god.
not like this. That would be way too much. I just need to quickly switch the image in this because it is the same one I use them both in.
Yeah, if you'd go Krynos, that would be...
There we go. Not quite as bad, but she literally can't pull the bow otherwise.
Yeah, and she still doesn't have the antlers, right?
She is still antler free.
Okay, I will still make a willpower roll because that's some unexpected shit. But if it was Krynos, I would have said that's diff 8 or something, and this is like, yeah.
Just feel free to use standard diff. Like,
yeah, exactly.
To be fair, you've seen her Krynos form before, so this is different.
I mean no, well, I am fine, by the way, but I've seen worse shit than this.
Yeah,
but she's seen sort of a reflection of your Krynos form in Spirit Sight. You don't exactly see the entire effect of the Krynos form. That's what I understood.
This is
So
true. So yeah, as you slip around, well, she's still there. It is still a lot of hair, but she is suddenly somewhat bigger than she was before and a good bit furrier. And she has tucked the two arrows in her teeth, and as you're watching, just takes one from her teeth and gingerly places it to this. Well, pardon, first, now that she is big enough to do it, because she does not have the strength to use her bow in Hamid, will just calmly, quietly string the bow, eyes still very much locked up on a ledge, and we'll just string the bow and then raise it up, take one of the arrows from her teeth, and very calmly draw back and stand there for a good moment, sighting down the arrow, taking aim.
yeah, Ava will definitely glance up as well. Oh shit. There's a certain flaw coming in play, I think, here. Depends on what you're trying to shoot. What are you shooting? If Alpha's kind of looking up as well, just a quick glance.
Um, well, there's nothing really interesting up there, though. There are hilariously, cities are very strangely good habitats for falcons. Lots of high roosts and perches for them to
Oh,
dive from.
oh no.
I
So
know, no, right?
here's the interesting thing. Ava has this soft-hearted flaw. You hate to witness suffering.
For what it's worth, the we'll say for artistic justification, just to make 10 Point feel better, it is actually let me think. Because I know how they hunt. I don't know how well it would be able to carry it off. We'll say that she managed to catch it stooping on a pigeon that was on the same ledge. So it is currently like it's got its pigeon. It is a happy falcon. It's doing its eating this pigeon thing.
I'll have to make another willpower roll. 8 this time. Because if she can prevent it, oh good, she's good, she's good. Wow, wow.
Sometimes you get lucky, man.
Like, yeah. So she manages to keep herself under control and not go looking for something to distract the bird and make sure that it flies off, which inevitably would be really stupid, especially when there's someone with a bow around and you're not that person. So she'll just stay quiet as a mouse, glancing up, glancing back to this person, beast monster thing, um, and is staying very, very quiet.
And let's take a shot. See if 10 Point lucks out. Then that's definitely enough to take it to the ground. It's just a tiny bird.
Oh,
So yeah,
poor bird.
she very carefully takes aim and looses the shot. And yeah, she will maybe not kill it on impact. Well, let's face it. I don't know how much health your average falcon has, but I imagine it's not the same as your average human being.
3 or 4 maybe.
Hmm?
3 or 4 maybe.
Yeah, probably. So
Yeah.
yeah, she pegs it. Perfect shot. And it's a fairly narrow ledge. So it will topple. And of all the weird shit, she immediately, she does the whole thing where she looses and pauses with the bow still up, obviously ready to grab the other arrow from her teeth if necessary. But as soon as it hits, she kind of perks up and immediately darts over to try to catch it as it drops.
Ava's covered her mouth with her hands right now as she. There's definitely tears in her eyes because, oh my god, that poor bird. Like, what has it ever done to you?
Well, here's the really weird part. I don't have to roll for it, thankfully. But she will almost immediately, um, she catches a hold of it, and she almost very reverently, very respectfully, she'll kneel down and very gingerly place it on the ground, quickly unstring her bow, and promptly take the moment it takes to shift back down to a less sus appearance. Um, the remaining arrow goes back into her bag. The bow, unstrung now, again defies all kinds of science and goes back into her bag. And she will very carefully extract the other arrow and put it back into her bag. But what she does next is, I mean, you know what prayer for the prey is. But she very promptly just goes about very respectfully. I mean, it's kind of like, I imagine you can't hear every word type thing, but it's very clear that she is being very respectful of the little corpse, being very reverent, being in fact like probably at least audibly in some measure thanking it, and then
As soon as it is going to appear that she's going to move backwards, basically back into her direction, Ava will kind of like start hiding or crawl back to the dungeon. The dungeon. Wow, D&D much? Dumpster to hide herself again.
and yeah, she goes through the prayer for the prey. She'll pull out a scarf that you might imagine was only in there for this purpose, and very gingerly wraps up the little body and tucks it into the bag as well, and then gets up, dusts herself off, takes a good look around again. By now, Ava has backed herself around the corner, so it really doesn't make sense line of sight wise to catch on to her. And
You could hear her. You could technically hear her.
yeah,
She's
true. I'll try it.
I'll make a dex stealth.
Oh Jesus!
Shit. Yeah. You hear something.
And yeah, so she starts getting up and dusting herself off, and finally like turns her senses back to her surroundings, just in time to hear Ava like bump the dumpster or maybe bump one of the trash can lids that's laying ever so conveniently in the middle of the fucking alley.
Because of course that's where people put them.
Of course, that's exactly where you put those, underfoot.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, she'll pop upright almost immediately and quickly come around the corner, trying to see what it was. Probably that fucking cat again, but she has to be sure. Can't go breaking the veil all willy nilly.
And Ava by that time has reached like the dumpster and is sitting behind it. She knows that she made a noise. She is listening very intently to hear like if anything is approaching, if anything is happening. It's like so quiet that you can feel your own heart or hear your own heartbeat kind of bumping in your ears. Like,
And
they're waiting.
it gets kind of horror movie esque in that she takes a couple quick steps, obviously, to look down the alley, and then they stop. And again, 10 Point will do the whole trick of, holding your breath and really listening for a good couple beats. Like just long enough to be completely nerve-wracking as, you hear the rapid steps and then complete silence.
I failed my stealth because I figured that would be another stealth versus.
Oh god.
So, as she is completely silent, very much horror movie like. Again, Ava tries to be really silent, but like there's a small cramp kind of like starting to get into her leg, and she just has to move it, and just there's barely any sound really. But when everything is quiet around you, all sounds are like. So there's just the tiniest.
And yeah, There's just that extra second of pause to make you think, okay, maybe you shouldn't notice, and then the footsteps start again. Obviously coming down the alley. Now, admittedly, it's not the longest alley, and she is closer to the exit than 10 Point is. But yeah, she's a coming.
Oh dear. Yeah. I was thinking, am I gonna keep seated here, or gonna make a run for it? I need to get the fuck out of here because this is a giant monster. But maybe she won't kill me in the streets. So yeah, I was gonna scramble up and just start running.
And I mean, she'll hear the kind of that I don't know why people do it. 10 Point doesn't know why she does it, but everyone does it when you see the target of whatever the fuck you were looking for and kind of goes, hey! And like the footsteps catch, like, you know, kind of pick up as she starts trotting after her, like, wait a minute.
Okay, she has 2 successes on her Dex Athletics, so she kind of scrambles up and out of the and like luckily doesn't like turn over her back, because that would be horrible if that back would just fall. Like with her fail, she would have lost her back. That would have been terrible for her. Or with the botch, actually.
Yeah, probably that's more of a botch. Let's see if 10 Point
Yeah.
is fast enough to catch a hold of her. No, only 2 successes, so they're going the same speed.
It's going the same speed, yeah. And Ava at the end of the alleyway goes to the left, because you have to pick one direction. This is not the time to be like picking your face carefully. And I guess we'll make another Dex Athletic. She's still like storming out of the alleyway and running. That's 3 successes. Oh my god.
And yeah, 10 Point will Iris. We'll come darting out the mouth of the alley as well. And having obviously seen her go left,
Oh
we'll
yeah.
we'll be craning her head, trying to get a good look at her, trying to catch any telltale details. Definitely doesn't keep up though. And considering she went left, the way foot traffic here works, she'd be going against the flow. So Ava is just having really good luck ditching her and dodging around people, and 10 Point is not. You definitely, as you start like making good distance on her, hear her kind of go, shit.
And Ava will I will make another Dex stealth as she is trying to like after like running for a while and noticing that 10 Point is, or well, Irish is not as fast as she is, which is remarkable, really. She will start to, head into the next alleyway that she basically comes across and trying to find a place to hide there. Oh, that's a fail. You can see her get into that alley. Probably.
Yeah,
Like if you're
let's
still looking
see.
out.
Oh, well, she can fight the foot traffic this time because she wasn't doing so hot last time. I'd say that she manages to at least make up the difference. And Ava does have a moment to like dive in and try to hide herself or keep running down the alley and like go through the veritable maze that's probably there. But yeah, at the very least, Iris does see the alley and has to scramble a little harder. So you have essentially, I assume, like a turns lead on her. Because
Yeah,
at this point, I've only just caught up to your athletics. So yeah, she gets, a good turn action before 10 Point comes into the alley.
she'll basically run to the other hand, like trying to find like a place where she can like run around a corner, hopefully before 10 Point sees her. Hiding does not sound like the best option right now anymore. Only 1 success.
And just because it's a thing she's probably doing because she's upset herself and chiding herself and berating herself for the mistake. As 10 Point continues to give chase, it's just like, don't have a camera, don't have a camera, don't have a camera. Oh, you loser. That's a fail.
So
She is
yeah.
so fucking distraught with her shit that it is her turn to trip over something. And instead of, just bumping a trash can lid, she actually goes full, like, head over heels over a trash can.
Aw. Aw.
It stops her up pretty handily. It's
Yeah.
it's no serious injury. She doesn't like clonk her head, but she does stumble and fall.
Mm. And Ava, like, right before she went and took like at that intersection of two alleyways, she went again to the left, and she kind of looks around and she sees the silhouette of 10 Point before yeah, again darting left and then taking the next alleyway. Let's just say that there's a fire escape and she's going up.
I am going to.
And is going to attempt to hide herself there. Wow. Okay. She
I was going to
actually.
alertness the fire escape anyways because they are not
Yeah.
silent. They are like loose metal ladders that rattle and make a bunch of noise generally. So
Which was exactly the mistake that Ava made as she's trying to hide, and it's like, oh, you know what? I'll just hide behind like that sofa that I can see there standing on that fire escape at the second floor, because she wouldn't look at that, And as she tries to grab hold of like the ladder to go up, not only does the thing make a terrible noise when she grabs hold of it, but also because it has rained in the morning, the thing is slippery as fuck, and her hands kind of, after grabbing hold of the like third sport, her hands slip away and she's just gonna go flat on her back on the ground.
trying to determine things.
I
Actually,
mean,
you know what? I am going to. Do you mind if I retroactively roll awareness because I'm dumb?
fine with me. Primal urge in your case. Is
Yeah,
that what we're
yeah. That thing.
the thing where you can feel like, huh,
The thing with the
the
stuff.
person is doing a thing.
Yeah, I'll just say it slipped her mind because she's just so gosh darn focused. Because I'm trying to think of ways to not be a jerk.
Be that jerk. No, but in all honesty, I would say roll it, but I would say do it at a higher diff because you were busy at that point.
Sure. Think 7 or 8.
Whatever you want.
I was doing 8 for the stuff since she was focused,
Okay.
so but still none because ones are a bitch.
One's our bitch.
Um. So yeah, let's see if she can get any successes just to make up the difference after tumbling. Catch up that turn of lost action, and she does. So yeah, Ava will thump to the ground, and very abruptly, Iris will kind of launch onto her just to pin her down to the ground, not mauling her, strangely enough, but we'll definitely jump on to keep her from getting up and running again because Jesus, she's obnoxious in a crowd.
It's those tall legs. Ava
It's
will try
those
to kind of
legs.
push her away and try to scramble up and try to get away.
And we can either contested grapple, or if nothing else, once she jumps on her. To be fair, Iris's first concern is very simple. She essentially jumps on her and goes to try to pin her down, and is like, "Your phone."
What? Get off me! Get off me!
No,
Yes! Leave me alone! Who are you? blah. She's still
And
kind of
yeah, she'll
hoping.
finally, maybe at this close a range, recognize her finally, and kind of squint, like the brows kind of knit, like I've seen you. You're
And
fine.
yeah, you can clearly see Ava kind of making that, oh shit, she recognized me. Probably also because of the struggle and the fall and everything. Like you can safely say that her hair is not tucked in so neatly anymore.
Yeah. I mean, 10
So
Point's main goal is to launch on and like essentially just sit on her. Like do the straddle sit on her, so it's really hard for her to dislodge her. So she's got like one hand planted on her shoulder, so to try to keep her from getting the momentum to get up, and what the other hand is like held out in a very expectant fashion.
and Ava will attempt to lie and be like, "What? I don't have a phone with me."
You lying little shit.
Yes, I'm a lying little shit.
I mean, at this point, I think. I mean, I'll let you roll it because I don't have an especially good ability to detect it. But yeah, it's the skeptical. Like, who doesn't have a phone? If 10 Point has a phone, everyone has a phone.
That would be manipulation subterfuge. Well, I have a whole lot of dice for that.
So many.
So many.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, I have one success.
That's okay. You want to see how many dice I have to detect it? Yeah, let's do this. Hardcore. Yeah.
But you see through it.
She like rolls her eyes in a very like kind of like she's not furious, but she's obviously annoyed that you even tried. Everyone has a phone. Come
Why do you
on.
need my phone? Why would you need it? I haven't done anything.
And I bet you haven't seen anything either. Phone.
I mean, yeah, I mean, at this point, I was just gonna hand her the phone because, fuck, I mean, this is a giant monster. You can only do so much.
It's so giant, so menacing. Look at her menacing face. I mean, she looks like an agitated, fairly tall but slender woman. There you go. But yeah, we all know what she's seen. So I am so sorry, Sauce. But yeah, as soon as she hands it over, 10 Point doesn't know much about phones. She certainly doesn't have the skill necessary to like flip it open and casually check for pictures or video. So she does the only thing she knows how to do, which is immediately smash it into the ground next to her. Like, not even with like this superhuman force. She literally just, like any normal person would do, just kind of slams it into the ground
I
to
mean,
make sure it's
at this
broken.
point, that is menacing enough. Like,
and then
Ava is definitely close to tears at this point.
and drops the corpse of the phone into her bag, just to be sure.
Yeah, Ava is like, there are tears welling up in her eyes. She's not like panicking, but she's very close to it. Just let me go.
At which point she visibly calms down some when the phone is totes broken and nothing could ever be retrieved. This is why she has to save the corpse of the phone, because she's stupid and you could totally retrieve that. It's the magic little chip in there. And she calms down some, though she is still sitting on Ava and just kind of rubs her face because this is not part of what she planned for today. And she just again looks down the alleyway in either direction. Really doesn't want to play this game. Looks down at her.
Yeah, Ava is like I said, is probably shivering, and Iris might think it's because of the rage, which, to a point, she's right.
Haha. What did you say?
Nothing. Didn't see anything. Please just let me go.
And she considers this. And obviously takes a moment mulling over the potential consequences of protecting the veil. Because this girl did have several friends, and some strange fucking shit happened around her on her way out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for what it's worth, you can see Ava kind of, from time to time, just glancing up at Iris's forehead, basically, like as if she is definitely expecting something there, but she's not seeing anything, of course.
Admittedly, Iris is very accustomed to people looking up above her brow line, but not generally humans. And admittedly, she doesn't have them right now and hasn't had them out in public ever. The fuck? And she finally, again, she is at this point sat back, is no longer like pinning with the hand, is just sitting on her stomach pretty much and rubs her face. Nothing.
Nothing. Seen nothing.
And just for lols. 'Cause I know she's lying.
Yeah, this is true. I will roll my my great amount of subterfuge dice.
I mean, it's right up there with mine. And that's even, so tie goes to the defender.
Yay!
She rubs her face and finally almost relieved, because having to clean up a fucking murder scene, oh, that would have been bad. She finally nods. And, well, if she didn't see anything, proceeds to do the strangest fucking thing, which is, again, I mean, at this point, there's no telling what she's pulling out of the Mary Poppins bag. But she reaches into the bag.
Oh god. I'll make a willpower roll to not like flinch as she does that. Okay. I think actually I should make an appearance subterfuge roll to like.
Feel free.
Yeah, she's 2 successes. So she's just lying there still. Her eyes do glance over to the bag, but then back to the person sitting on top of her.
Yeah, she proceeds to pull out what looks like the most like ridiculous old school like drawstring bag. Pulls it open, pulls out a pair of bills, plops them on her chest, pulls the bag closed again, tucks it back in the satchel, and gets up. Sorry. And just promptly about faces and starts walking back out of the alley. Congratulations, you're now the proud owner of a pair of $100 bills. Because she did just break your phone.
Oh god, I was just gonna keep lying there for a moment, like, what the fuck just happened? And keeping herself like you know. Yeah. Exactly. She's lying there, like trying to calm herself down, and then finally scrambles up and looking around to see if there's anyone there, if Iris is still there, and finally will.
I mean, she's not running; she's just kind of walking with purpose. But yeah, they're 2 totally legit, new style $100 bills. These things can't be counterfeited.
The 10 point took her phone, right?
Yeah, she after smashing it, tucked the rest into her bag to make sure it wouldn't magically get retrieved, just in case there was something on it.
Mm. So she's going to take the 2 bills and kind of dumbfoundedly put them in her pockets, and still like she still hasn't stood up. Actually, she's kind of sitting, half crouching, almost to the point of hugging herself as she's watching 10 Point Leave be like, I'm still alive. I am not impaled on these antlers that she has hiding somewhere, or shot somewhere. Like she's still watching 10 Point Leave very intensely, because that bow can come out any second now and just shoot her or something like that.
No, her intent seems pretty clear. It's obviously the God fucking damn it kind of like petulant walk, but it is nonetheless, there's not even a glance back. She just kind of, no, she's just headed out. She slips around that corner.
I will sit there until she is fully gone.
Yeah, she heads around the corner, and you can hear her because she's, again, it's kind of the petulant son of a fucking kind of, stompy walk almost. So yeah, you can hear her go all the way down the alley and just rejoin the crowds.
After like 5 minutes, making sure that she's not coming back, Ava will hurriedly make her way back home because, oh my god, no, I'm not going to go shopping anymore. Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, we can end the scene there.
Yeah, so one person departing with successful chiminage and one person departing with, down a phone, but up $200 and maybe some bruises for falling off that fire escape. But otherwise, surprisingly uninjured. I suppose we can call this a scene. So, thank you, players, for playing, and thank you, watchers, for watching this clusterfuck, and we will see you next time on the Living World of Darkness, Rage Mage.